Good morning, my beautiful people. It is Good Friday. This one, I'm expecting some comments on this one. Seriously, I usually get comments from the same people, and I have no problem with that. I definitely appreciate it. But I honestly, after this one, I want your input. Hopefully, you're brave enough to type it out. And as long as we respectfully disagree with each other, hey, I want to talk about, and this is something that's been on my mind for over a month, and I just want to get some clarification. There's probably going to be one or two more videos after this regarding it, depending on how the comments go. So let's get into it. This is regarding me and a couple of very close, dear friends of mine. We have been talking about signs of the rapture, the tribulation, not only close friends, but other people in general, things that I've picked up on. And I'm like, yeah, I got something to say about that. So I'm just going to give you my general overview. And then you comment, whether you agree or disagree, or, hey, it says this in the Bible. When you do say something, please make sure you say something from the Bible. Don't tell me what somebody else said, okay? All right. This is my interpretation of what I've read. Now, just for a little background, some people would have called me, did call me, a doom and gloom child. Ever since I accepted Christ, I was 8 years old at the time, and I was obsessed with Revelation. I just knew even then I was going to possibly be here for the rapture of the church. And I read Revelation so much I could practically quote it verse for verse. Later on, I got into Daniel and Isaiah and the other books that speak on the end times. And then I strayed, like we all do. I strayed massively, like to the point I had to read Revelation all over again. And it was like my eyes reopened. So that's just a little background, just to tell you where I'm coming from. Okay, a couple of things I've heard. The first one is that we are already in the beginning of the tribulation, that the four horsemen are already riding. Yeah, if you guys are into that and you saw that video back in, was it 2000, somewhere between 2012 and 2015, I think, where there was a riot of people over in, I want to say it was the Middle East, or it might have been Greece, somewhere like that. And supposedly there was this green horse that rode through, and they were saying that that was the pale horse of the apocalypse. My problem in that is that, first of all, yes, I am a pre-tribber. Most of you already know this. My problem with that is that, and yes, I have notes. After the 4th chapter in the book of Revelation, the church is no longer mentioned. In fact, it's not until chapter 5 and chapter 6 where the Lamb opens a scroll and then he breaks the first 6 seals. The first 4 seals being each of the 4 horsemen. So that's my take on part of my pre-trib theory. And considering the first seal is the white horse and the man that comes to conquer is the Antichrist. He brings peace and security and prosperity. From what I've read, he is the one that will come on the scene and solve all these world issues, like the current issues we're having now. He's going to come and just solve all of it, it seems like overnight. And the earth will actually have a peace and safety and global security that man has not seen since the Garden of Eden, pretty much. It's supposed to be like this unprecedented time of peace and safety and security. And this is when the Antichrist steps on the scene. Another reason, kind of piggybacking onto that, people have said that we are in the tribulation. No, we're not, because the Antichrist isn't. He exists, in my opinion. I think that we are living in the last of the last of the last days. But another sign that I am looking for, if we were mid-trib or post-trib, are the two witnesses. In Revelation, there's two witnesses. They say, a lot of people speculate that it's Elijah and Moses. Elijah went up in the clouds without dying. And why do I keep wanting to say Nahum? Is the other one that went up in the clouds without dying. Only two men did not die. But then I kind of don't get that, because, okay, in order to look at the face of God, you would think you couldn't live. At least that's what the Bible says, doesn't it? Anyway, that's a whole nother subject. Okay, let's skip that. The two witnesses in Israel that are supposed to preach and convert the 144,000 that will preach to the other Jewish people, the 12,000 from each tribe of Israel. We haven't seen signs of them or heard about them or anything. So that's another reason why I feel like we are not in the tribulation yet. Let's see, what else? Another reason why I feel we are pre-trib, and this is a big one to me. If the rapture was mid-trib or post-trib, which makes absolutely no sense to me, I'm just saying, why would he be coming down to the earth, but he's going to snatch us up as he's coming down? Yeah, that makes no sense to me. I'm sorry. If you're post-trib, no offense, no disrespect, but it doesn't logically make sense to me. If he's coming down, what's the purpose of taking us up? You know what I'm saying? But if it was mid-trib, that would give us like at least an inkling of when it's going to happen. The Bible specifically says you don't know the day, the hour, or the time or the season or anything. In order to catch you by surprise, you would have to not know. Just like Jesus said, if the man, knew a thief was going to come break in his house, if he knew around what time, he would have stayed up all night and waited for the man, right? So if you think he's coming mid-trib, then you're thinking in your head, I have, excuse me, I have an idea of when he's coming, so I just need to make sure my life is straight by then. To me, that seems unrealistic. I could be wrong. Hey, comment but down below in what your opinion is. And I think to completely catch us off guard and to come as a thief in the night, it would have to be pre-trib. I'm just saying. Not to mention, when I said the church is no longer mentioned after Revelation 4, before the seals are broken. Anyway. I also think that being pre-trib, a lot of people call it, what do they call it? High watch days, where, it's probably going to be the Feast of Trumpets or Rosh Hashanah or Easter or the Passover or something like that. Honestly, I think it's going to be an ordinary, regular day when you least expect it, when you're not looking. That's when he's going to come. At one point, I did think, because the Bible says 1,000 years is as one day to God, I was thinking it would fall on the third day after he rose from the dead, when he rose from the third day, which would actually make it Monday, not Sunday. I'm just saying. But sorry, my dog went by and I lost my train of thought. Yeah, I was thinking if 1,000 years is one day, then on the third day he would come back, which would make it actually 2033. God can do whatever he wants. I honestly don't know if we'll be here another 10 years. I'm just saying it's possible, you know. I'm like I said before, you know, people that lived through World War One, World War Two, or you know, the whole Jewish Holocaust and other times in history. I'm sure they thought then that, hey, he could come back at any time, or the Messiah can come, if they didn't believe that Jesus was Messiah. But the thing is, with so much going on at one time, just like the Bible says, as far as the birth pains of the earth, and it's not one thing here, one thing there. It's getting to the point where every day you're hearing something. And honestly, we're desensitized to it. If it doesn't directly affect us, especially here in the United States, I mean, I'm sure over in Europe where there's rioting, and in Venezuela where they got so hungry they had to eat the animals in the zoo due to hyperinflation and not being able to afford food or have food or whatever it was. It's like just one thing after another, and I could be wrong. I don't think the earth has ever been like this, not to mention the fact that Jesus said once Israel is back together as a nation, this generation would not pass away before my coming back. And the generation's pretty much almost up. Now, how many years is a generation? Is it 80 years? Is it 70 years? Obviously not. It's been past 70 years. I'm thinking it's closer to 80. It could be 120. I don't know. That is God's timing, not my timing. So I'm running on his time. He doesn't run on my time. So whenever he says, hey, we're going, that's good enough for me. I think I've pretty much covered the basics as far as what I wanted to say. Oh, yeah, and one more thing. Like I said, I don't think it's going to be a high watch day or any kind of holy day or anything like that. I think it's just going to be a normal, everyday thing. People are like, oh, there's too much calamity and stuff going on. It's just going to happen on a normal day. In the last 3 years, how many of us have said that this is the new normal? And that, honestly, most of us don't even watch the news anymore. And those that do watch the news, those of us that do watch the news, you're desensitized to it. That is normal. I mean, it's not normal unless you hear some good news or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So, just giving you my basic advice on how I feel about the end times and how I feel we are possibly living in them. Like I said, please feel free, comment down below. I really want to know your opinion on this. Love you guys. Take care. Keep prepping. See you next time.